Have you ever had problems with emotional eating? That is the question. I have to say that that was one of the biggest issues I had prior to my journey, and I still battle it on occasion. As a matter of fact, I was traveling last week, and traveling can be somewhat stressful. And we were traveling to see our oldest child. It was an amazing trip. I loved seeing my baby boy. But my baby boy is a leader and I'm a leader, and my husband gets very frustrated because we both want to be right all the time. And we know this. And used to be when my son and I would butt heads, I would get angry, and then I would yell and scream and go insane. Yeah, really insane. And then to resolve the turmoil inside, I would just eat. Um, During this last trip, I had kind of a epiphany and actually saw how I managed to overcome this. And it wasn't really clear up until this last week. And I really wanted to share this with you. During this headbutting session that we had, I could physically feel myself pulling back. My husband was yelling, my son was getting frustrated and getting louder, I was getting louder, and I just kind of stopped. And I took stock of the situation as we were kind of in the middle of it. And to be honest with you, I just started crying. I blew everybody away because yes, I cry at sappy commercials, and yes, I cry at YouTube videos, but when we are in the center of this turmoil, I never cried. I always got loud and yelled, and that was my way of dealing with that situation. And then later I would go eat whatever called me. Um, During this situation, I actually cried and said, look, guys, one of the things I've learned is I can't do this. I have to back out of this situation. I kind of blew them away, but they survived. And it actually made the trip much nicer because they didn't walk away thinking I was angry with them. They walked away knowing that um, the emotion in the situation just did not work for me, and that it was a boundary I could not cross. Um, Not once over this vacation did I actually eat. It didn't eat 100% on plan because you can't do that when you travel. There was a lot more sodium. There was a lot more. Um, we ate out for every meal, obviously. I did take some stuff with me, and I ate that stuff as I was traveling. But for the primary meals, I ate out. So I was in control of what I was eating. There was a couple of headbutting sessions over, let's go have barbecue. And I was like, that's fine. You guys go have barbecue. I'm not going to eat the barbecue because I won't be able to function for the rest of the trip. Um, but that's just me and how my body reacts to certain things. So it was one of the best trips we've had. We got to be a family of 5 for a very brief, short period of time. And I walked away learning something that I could share with you. In one of my in the stress eating handout that I have, the 10 things to do besides stress eat, there is actually also a breathing in the moment exercise at the end of that. And I made use of that. I physically stopped, paid attention to my breath, pulled my shoulders back, and was able to accept what I was feeling at that moment and say it was okay. And that was something that, although I've done it not in such an emotionally charged situation, this was probably one of the most stressful things I've done in the 5 years. And it was because I was going to see my son graduate from a Navy program, and I had no control. I literally was at the mercy of his schedule because he is now an adult. Being at the mercy of your child's schedule is extremely stressful. And it was extremely stressful for him because we live a very structured life. We have, we do the same things at the same times. A lot of 90% of the time, we're very structured. He's very not structured. And he and I had a long talk about this because he's like, Mom, since you guys been here, I have been more structured than I have been in 2 years, because he lives his life his way and we live our life our way. And the meshing of those two as parents was challenging, but we went in knowing that it's his life, and we wanted to see what his life was. So the stress, the emotional upheaval of seeing my baby after not seeing him since Christmas, all of those things at one point would have had me diving off the deep end. So for you guys, when you're in an emotionally charged situation, the biggest tip I can have is, first of all, realize that your emotions are okay. There's no bad emotion, but you have to actually be aware of it and accept it and try to breathe. Because if you're paying attention to your breath, you can't yell, 1. 2, you can't consume a ton of food if you're paying attention and actually accepting. So for those of you out there that are emotional eaters, that eat in response to an emotion, you have to validate your emotion and say it's okay. And you have to actually remove yourself, whether it is a mental removal like I did, or a physical removal, which I did a few times as well. We went out to dinner someplace, and it wasn't someplace that I was familiar with the menu. And the waitress didn't really speak English, so I couldn't find out what was in the food. And that was stressful for me. I actually almost started crying at the table full of my son's roommate's parents and decided, no, let's get up. And I actually got up and left the table, went to the restroom, and walked myself through it. So the emotions were acceptable. It was just a lot. And I didn't revert to using food to cope. I actually used breathing exercises, accepting the situation that I was in, talking to the people I was with who I knew all cared about me, and just allowing myself to have those emotions. I was embarrassed as heck because, I don't cry in front of people. I just don't do it. So, but I did it, and it was a good thing. And I wanted to share this with you as I return to normal this week, and taking a rest day on the wrong day, but that's okay because I worked out yesterday and I wasn't supposed to, and I lost track of which day it was. So for this week, this is kind of our video blog, and I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I'm going to send you off with some love and hugs. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.